What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. Today we are checking out the latest drone from Holy Stone called the HS120D. So this drone has a few things going for it. First of all, it is very affordable. You can find this for about $120 to $170, but like anything else, it depends when and where you buy it from. It is also extremely light. It only weighs 221 grams, and that means that you don't have to register it before you fly it. At least in Canada and the US. I'm not sure about the regulations in other places, so definitely check the regulations before you fly any drone. But this one you can basically take out of the box and just go flying it without registering in Canada and the US. We also have a GPS unit inside, and that means a couple of things. The drone can hover in the same spot if you just let it be, and then it can come back if it gets disconnected from the controller. So let's say that you fly over a building and then you lose the connection, well, the drone will fly back and land wherever you took off. And I actually had to try that because I kind of lost it the first time I flew it. I flew it over some trees and I couldn't see it anymore, and then it got disconnected, but eventually it came back 10 minutes later. So I was very happy to see that that works. And lastly, we have a camera for FPV, and this camera can also record in 1080p. Alright, so we're gonna start with what comes in the box. So we are obviously gonna find the drone. We also have a set of spare propellers, just in case you crash this and the propellers break. There are some propeller guards as well, and two replacement legs, so the landing legs. You're also gonna find the 8 gig SD card for the 1080p camera that I mentioned earlier, and we also have a 1200 mAh battery. Since we are talking about the battery, well, on one charge you can fly for between 15 to 18 minutes, but I guess it really depends how windy it is, because it is super windy, you're obviously not gonna get 18 minutes, but if there is no wind, you can definitely get 18 minutes from this, and that includes the FPV connection, so using the FPV connection at the same time. Now, there is a charger that comes in the box, and you can charge two batteries at the same time, but I guess you're gonna have to buy the second battery if you need another one, and charging the battery from 0 to 100 takes about 2 hours. There is also a user manual in there, and I do recommend that you check out the user manual, because otherwise you're not gonna know how to fly this, because you have to calibrate it every single time before every single flight, otherwise there is no way of flying it. And aside from that, you're gonna find the controller, and the controller kind of looks like the controller that we have on the DJI Mavic. And this doesn't take a battery, this actually has an internal battery that you charge every now and then. I've been using the drone for 2 weeks and I only had to charge this once, so I guess it's gonna last for a few good flights. The drone itself is mostly made out of plastic, and it doesn't look or feel anything exceptional, but taking in consideration the price and the fact that it had to be under 250 grams, I think it totally makes sense. Because if we would have had some different type of plastic on it, then it would have been heavier than 250 grams, and then you'd have to register it to fly it, and it would become way more complicated. Now, there is a downside to having such a light drone, and that is the fact that you cannot exactly fly it when it's windy out. I mean, you can, but it doesn't do well. So the wind will literally take it away, and you definitely don't want that. So try avoiding flying this when it's super windy out. I mean, even bigger drones struggle when it's windy, but this one will definitely not do well when it's windy. But other than that, it does perform very, very well for what it is. The FPV camera can also be moved up or down from the controller, and that definitely gives you a bit more flexibility when you're flying this, but the quality from the camera isn't amazing. I mean, it is better than the last Holy Stone drone that I've tried in the past. However, I'm not gonna be able to use that footage in a video, for example. So you can definitely use it for FPV to follow someone or to see what's behind the building or something like that. But the footage is a bit shaky, and I don't think it's that quality that you can actually use it in a video production, if you understand what I mean. But for FPV and for playing with it is definitely good enough. In order to use the FPV function, you're gonna have to install an app on your Android or iOS device, and the app is free and it's available in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. And once you install that, you basically connect to the drone's Wi-Fi with your smartphone, and you can see everything that the drone sees right on your smartphone. You have access to some settings, not that many settings, but you still have access to some settings. You can select the maximum height, the maximum distance that the drone can go from you and stuff like that. You can also see how far the drone it is from you at any time, and you can also use like functions like follow me or to track an object or something like that, and something fun to do, and definitely not expected for a drone this cheap. Now, the FPV range will be different depending where you're flying, because if you're flying over an open field, you can get like 2 to 300 meters the range, right? So you can still see what the drone sees if the drone is like 300 meters away from you. But if you're flying over buildings, you're gonna get around 40 to 70 meters, so very, very big difference. But keep in mind that the connection to the FPV, because when you're connected to the FPV, you're basically connected to the camera's Wi-Fi. So that's not the same with the controller. You can have the FPV disconnected, but you're still connected to the controller. And connected to the controller, you can fly like 600-700 meters that way. But ideally, you should fly this where you actually see it. You shouldn't fly further than you actually see it. So to quickly conclude this, for the price you cannot go wrong with this. You get FPV, you get a GPS unit inside, the drone doesn't need to be registered to be flown, and this is mostly a toy, not necessarily a professional tool. This is something that you would use for fun. If you're looking for a professional tool so you can film stuff, I do recommend that you spend more money and you get a better drone. But if you're looking for that, you're probably looking like at a DJI product, and you're looking at spending around $1,000 to get decent footage. So keep that in mind. So this is a toy that offers really good value, but not a professional tool, and this is mostly aimed at beginners in my opinion, because it has the tools for a beginner. It can see all the camera sees, it can come back if it gets disconnected and so on. So definitely not a bad drone for the price. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.